Session 1 of Carolina Camp is in the books. It's time to get Coach Rob's first impression of the 25-26 Tar Heels.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Thursday, June 26th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making us your first listener watch of the day to get your Thursday going the right way. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Special shout out to all the everydayers who are here with us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and of course, our Locked On Tar Heels insiders as well. Joining me on the show today is our good buddy, Coach Bill Robinson, the head coach of the Milligan University Buffaloes and a 2-decade veteran of Carolina Basketball School, Carolina Summer Camp. He's written a great book about it, Carolina Basketball School, History, Stories, and Drills. And Coach Rob is actually coming to us today from Carolina Camp, where they are starting Session 2. You might note, for those of you watching, you notice he's not in with me yet just because of his tight schedule. I'm recording everything else without him, and then we'll just record the parts with him together, and I'll splice it all together. So coming up on the show today, where Coach Rob and I are going to go, we're going to react to the first camp session and to Montross Camp. We're going to ask Coach about those first impressions, how he feels about this team, his predictions that he made last week on the show. If you were with us, want to see if he still feels the same way. What has he seen from the guys on the court, off the court? What's he learned? And we're going to get his experiences from the first session of camp, all the guys he's seen, all how his book signing went, all of that kind of stuff. So let's get right into it. Here's Coach Rob and I's conversation. Well, surprise, surprise. I thought it was just going to be Coach Rob joining us today, and we pop up, and it's none other than Mr. Pete Chilcutt himself. While it might be 95 degrees in Chapel Hill, it's getting a little bit chilly. The fellows are coming to us from Coach Sully's office. And man, just really grateful to you both for giving us some time in between Montross Camp and starting up Session 2. How long is it before Session 2 of camp starts?
We meet in about an hour and 10 minutes.
Seriously, guys, I'm so grateful for it. One note I should add that I didn't say in the intro, we are recording this before Wednesday night's round 1, so we don't yet know where Drake Powell is going to go tonight. So hopefully round 1, maybe he'll sneak in somewhere unexpected. So as we record, Session 1 of Carolina Camp is over. Montross Camp has just wrapped for these guys, and Session 2 is starting, as we just said, in a little bit. Coach Rob's second camp game will be Friday. Is that right?
3:30-ish, between 3 and 3:30-ish.
Okay, good. Very, very, very good. So, guys, here's where I want to start. Big picture. After the first session of camp, and you both getting first impressions on the 25-26 Tar Heels, do you feel better, worse, or about the same as you did this time last year as you were getting camp impressions of them?
I'm going to go ahead and say I'm 100% feeling more impressed, more excited to see what's going to happen. You know, it is a weird feeling because of the amount of new faces we have out there. And I watched a unofficial practice a couple weeks ago, and, you know, it was before the freshmen were in town, but there's so many new faces. It was kind of just disconcerting, right? You used to kind of following your guys through the program, and all of a sudden look out there and there's guys knocking down jumpers. We got some big bodies. It's going to feel a lot different, I think, for the fans because of how the team is built this year.
Coach Rob?
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, I feel great about it, and a lot of it has to do with just the attitudes. In the Montross games yesterday afternoon, Caleb Wilson's coaching and cheering, and I mean, it was the loudest I've ever heard a Montross Camp game be. And of course, they were talking noise with the other coaches. It was the other freshmen were there too, and arguing back and forth, but just bringing a lot of energy. And I think that's what we see the difference. Obviously, they made a bunch of shots in the alumni game last week. We look forward to see what happens this week, but we still want to get Luka here. I think Luka's still a big piece of what we're doing, but I think, you know, hanging out with the guys yesterday was just a different energy than we had the last couple of years.
Interesting. I got that vibe from watching some of the videos that Montross Camp put out on Instagram, but I'm glad to hear that from you guys as well, experiencing it, their boots on the ground. Speaking of which, really quick, Coach Rob, on Luka, any intel from Coach Sully or there in his office or any of the other guys on timeline for him?
No, I haven't heard anything specific. We knew he wasn't going to be here this week,
Right.
and on that, but they're still very optimistic. Talked to Brad Frederick, and he's still very optimistic. Everything will be done, and he'll be able to get here. It's just the process takes a lot longer than you and I could ever imagine.
That's absolutely right. Okay, Pete, to bring you in last week, Coach Rob and I did some predictions for camp about who would be team leader, who was going to be the dog that he was experiencing, and who he would walk away from camp saying, oh boy, I really like him. So we'll let you get in on that as well. Coach Rob's prediction for team leader was it's got to be Seth. Having seen the guys, do you both feel that way, that it's got to be Seth, or is there a different answer now?
Yeah, that's to me, that's one of the easier ones. We had some varied leadership in the past, but I think this year it's squarely on Seth's shoulders, and I think he came back for that. I think he wants to be that guy. He wants to be the dog on the team, maybe too. And he's kind of out there. When I've seen him, he looks just so comfortable and mature in his role that 100% he'll be the leader on the team.
Okay.
As soon as camp ended and we're all up in the concourse eating lunch, you hear a ball bounce down the gym. You look down and Seth Trimble's come out of the tunnel with a couple managers and a couple balls, and he's working. So to me, that's the leadership we've been wanting him to have. And again, he's such a great guy. He's just a nice kid. But we need him to kind of be that leader in a different way. And that's how he's going to lead. I think he'll lead more verbally than maybe RJ did, but he's also right there in the gym. He's the first one out of the tunnel. And that's the kind of leadership I'm really excited to see. And I think that's going to pay off big dividends this year.
Yeah, I like that being, with RJ, it was more, as you said, lead by example, but having a leader who leads both by example and verbally, man, that you guys both well know how critically important that is. All right. The next category we talked about last week was who's going to be that dog, like DAWG type dog. Coach Rob, your answer was Caleb Wilson, because you said you just talked about that infectious personality he has, but also we discussed how he might be a little bit unhinged in a good way. Walking away from this first session of camp, new answer or sticking with Caleb Wilson? Where are you at?
It's him. It's absolutely him. And, he just seems to be everywhere. We went out to Four Corners last night just to grab some wings and some sweet tea, and here he comes. He walks in, but he's with the freshmen. They're always together. All three of them are always together. And there's a video I hope to be able to send to you of the three of them outside the camp office, just messing around with the kids and cheering and dancing and doing all this stuff. And he's right in the middle of it. And he's just a big kid, but at the same time, he's super competitive. He's always out there fighting. He won't take anything from anybody. He's always kind of chirping back at him, but in a good way, in a positive way. But the thing I just was so impressed with his ability to guard anybody in the open gym the other night, whether it was a guard or whether it was big or anybody in between. He's just got that length and the ability just to sit down and guard people. And that's what I want from my dog. I want my dog to be able just to sit down there and do all those little things. And I think he's going to be a great scorer too, but he really wants to do it at the defensive end.
Pete, anything different from you?
I think he's right on his call on him, but I'm going to go with, when you have a dog coming in as a freshman, like I want old dogs. I don't want a puppy dog. So instead of a puppy dog, I'm going to go with my old dog. And I'm going back to Seth. Seth is known to step in you and D you up and play hard. And I think we're going to see even more of that this year. And again, I think you need that, especially on the perimeter, get up in somebody. And I get that Caleb can do a lot of stuff and he's going to be a special kid. But again, I like that old junkyard dog versus the new dog on the block.
And the last one was, who are we walking away saying, boy, I really like him? Coach Rob, your answer last week was Kyan Evans. A lot of that was like, you're a point guard, he's a point guard. And so there's kindred spirits there for both of you. Who do you walk away from camp saying, ooh, I feel an affinity to this young man?
Well, the guy I was most excited to see in camp was Deion Thompson, but I know that's not the question you're asking. Deion came through, and I love to spend some time with him. But Kyan Evans was in my station. He was in our defensive station yesterday afternoon. He got assigned there. I didn't choose that, but it's exactly what we talked about. That's actually, who I wanted to get to talk to, and he was just super appreciative of being here and being part of it, and just so excited about stepping into the Carolina family. And just stuff like Montross Camp doesn't happen anywhere else. It doesn't happen at other schools. So all the guys were just super excited, but it is him for me. I'm still super excited to get a chance to spend time with him. And I didn't realize it's his parents, and I think maybe a sibling went to Briarcliff in Iowa, which is an NAI school. So he knew what the NAI, not too many people know what, when they say Milligan's an NAI school, many people really understand that. But that we just kind of hit it off a little bit with that too. So it was just great spending it wasn't a lot of time, but it was great spending some time with him.
Pete?
I can give you one, but I'm going to go with like the front court. Like I'm excited about this front court. I'm excited about Caleb Wilson and all he can bring, but I'm excited about Jarin Stevenson. I'm excited about Henri coming in. I've seen everyone play enough to see that it's something we haven't had in a while. Now, it used to be traditional. You got the three big guys, at least three rotating in and out. And I think at the 3, 4, and 5, we got some size. We got some athleticism. We got some scoring ability. Now we can add that 3-point shooting in there. And again, I don't know when we had multiple bigs that could shoot threes. I know we had, Manic a few years ago, but multiple bigs is going to be a different look for us as well. But I think they can also go inside. So I'm really excited about the whole front court.
Hey,
Pete,
Isaac.
Yes, go.
I was going to say, when you talk about the front court, they actually had a station at Montross Camp that was post play. And you had Tyler Zeller, Matt Wenstrom, Henri, and who's the other one?
Salvador.
Oh, Kevin Salvadori. So you had 4 7-footers in one station at a camp. And I asked Zeller, I said, where else can you find, 4 7-footers at one station? He said, only Carolina. It's the only place you'll find it. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's just cool.
That's great. Well, and that's not even, and that's not even including the 7-footer that you're sitting right next to, Coach. I love also that for both of you, your answers, Coach Rob, obviously you went with a backcourt player. Pete, obviously you went with a front court player. Y'all are just homers for your own position, and I love it. I'm here for it. That's great stuff. Okay, here's where we want to go next, gang. We have had multiple nights of these guys getting to see the late night pickup. We've had the first camp game. So I want to get big picture takeaways from actual gameplay and what these guys have seen. Plus, we'll get some other kind of superlatives and any concerns that both Coach Rob and Pete are seeing early on that need to be remedied. We'll get to all that in just a second. Right after I tell you about Monarch Money. Do you ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO giving you full visibility of and control over all of your finances. And Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, your investments, and spending right there in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. How great is that? Something I've found about Monarch that I really love is having everything financial there in one app in one place. So instead of having to remember to use a whole bunch of different apps where I would inevitably forget about something or having a folder full of financial apps on my phone, I just go straight to Monarch. That makes managing the day-to-day so much easier. So join me, take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Again, that's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Man, it's so great to be joined today by both Coach Rob and Chili Pete Chilcutt, coming to us from Coach Sullivan's office there in Chapel Hill. And so, guys, I want to move next to the actual game moments that we've seen. We talked some already about personality and some other stuff, but what have you seen? Let's start with the actual official camp game itself from session 1. That was on Sunday afternoon. Coach Rob, I know you were there. Pete, were you at that game?
I was not. I was at practice a few weeks ago. I did not make that game, but I still have some feelings on this year team. I did watch them play, so.
Okay, perfect. Well, that'll work great. So, Coach Rob, let's start with you then. Any specific takeaways from that game?
To me, Seth was back. He missed the open gym the night before, so didn't get a chance to see him play then. Got to see him play in the camp game. His energy again and his ability just to change the game. I think we're all excited about the fact that the shooting is better, and it was on display. There was way more threes made than any game that I can remember since maybe Dante Calabria was playing when he had 14 in a game by himself. But it just seemed like the guys were making much more, open shots, but the penetration and kick, and it's going to open up the lane for Seth to do some cool things. Having Henri, be able to pull up and make a 3-2, it's going to extend the floor for everybody. And I think that's, from an offense perspective, that's what we're really excited about. And because there wasn't a whole lot of pros, and they split up the team, blue-white, there's a little bit more defensive intensity being played. And to see JP Tokido being able to guard Seth Trimble in a game like that was pretty cool. There was no switching on screens. He was going to fight through everything and stay with them. So those were the cool moments for me. And I didn't really sit there and watch too intently. I worked the room, so I had some friends I wanted to see. Got to run into Coach Williams. Got to spend some time with him. So I think that's what it's about for me too. Just being able to see people who aren't normally in camp and get a chance to just spend time with my friends.
Man, that shooting is such, I think, a sweet news to everyone's ears there from all over the floor. Let's then turn our attention to Pete, when you got to see practice a while ago, or Coach Rob, also those late night pickup games. And any other observations that you guys are taking away? Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, bring your roster sheet with you to the first couple games, because I was sitting next to Brad Frederick and Pat Sullivan myself. And I was like, they were knocking shots down left and right. And I was like, who's that? Who is that? That guy can shoot. And I literally asked both coaches who the best shooters were coming in this year, and they named it to the transfers that they were knockdown shooters. And they were doing it during the practice. The bigs were knocking down shots. We had returning bigs with James Brown. We had Zayden Hyde just be physical. So I mean, there's battles at every position. It's a whole new roster. I mean, we had 2 kids with James Brown and Seth coming back that were scholarship players. We got Coach Davis's son as the third. It was just kind of a whole weird feeling of, who is this team? And they sure do look good. It feels hard to get excited because they feel like they're heels, but you haven't seen them play as Tar Heels yet. That kind of feeling. But I'm super excited about the potential, and talking just off the record to some of the coaches, like, I think they're all feeling the same way. They feel like they got a good mix of kids. And as we mentioned earlier, we don't have Luka coming in yet. That's another piece that, it's going to be super valuable for us. So I think I'm feeling pretty giddy right now. But again, I'm always feeling pretty giddy preseason. So we'll see.
You guys are talking about the 3-point shooting and how great it is already. They're still waiting on Luka Bogavac, who's a 40% 3-point shooter last year. And so, man, that's great news. Coach Rob, what about for you? Any other observations from like the late night pickup or other things gameplay wise?
Jonathan Powell shot the ball great. He was really, really, just very efficient. He didn't take a volume of threes, but he made a very high percentage. And again, I go back to Kyan Evans. He's my guy. He not just made shots in perimeter, but he also got in the lane and did some really kind of nifty, really crafty type things, where little Euro steps and maybe look off somebody, and had a couple really finishes that made people ooh and ah. And that hasn't happened in a little while. So maybe since Ty Lawson days, when you get in, and he's not Ty Lawson quick, and he's not Lawson quick, so don't get me wrong. But the thing I'm excited, and I told him this, I said he made people better. And then when people anticipated to pass somewhere, then is when he made that decision to make a shot. And his decision making was really good. And if you can see that in a pickup game, that once the system gets involved, he's got that high IQ. And I think he's just a perfect fit for what this team needs right now.
And that begs the question. I know a lot of people this offseason have been concerned when you lose more of a true point guard in Elliot Cadeau up to Michigan. Kyan Evans comes in, and I think a lot of people have viewed him more as kind of a combo guard and maybe not like a pure point guard. In y'all's opinion, from what you've seen of him, will he be able to do what he needs to do to lead this team as the lead guard?
I do. I think he's great. I think he'll do it. I think he just wants to win. I think you get to this level, and now he's at the highest level, and he's gonna do whatever it takes to win. So I think if coach says, hey, you need to get everybody involved and distribute and do all that stuff and be that dog in practice and just have that intensity every day. I don't think they need him to make, 3 threes or 4 threes a game. I think they just need him to be able to get everybody else better, and then be able to knock down shots when he's open, and play great defense. And I think he's ready to do that. And I'm not saying he's going to play 35 minutes a game, but I think he's going to play 30. I think he's going to play, 25 to 30, and he's going to be that floor general that every head coach wants.
Pete? Yeah, I agree. I think some of these guards, you get too locked up in certain roles and by naming him point guard, and I think combo guards is actually for today's game perfect. You can be a combo guard and you can have two combo guards in the game at the same time. Get into your office as long as you can push the ball up the court. Having those two guys that can also get to the basket and score, but also if they're unselfish, and I think these guys are, it's going to work out great. I don't think we'll have a guy averaging 6 assists. We'll have several of those guards averaging 3 or 4, and I think that's pretty much what we need.
And in the same way as love RJ Davis, but with this team where you can't just key on RJ and make somebody else beat you, the same can be true of the distribution of the ball. To your point there, Pete, about having multiple guys with 3 to 4 assists a game. And so I think that's yet another way that will make this team harder to defend. That's a great observation there. Before we move on to our last segment, let me ask you guys just the critical piece of this. Are there any concerns that you see early that maybe you've identified that's like, this is something that's going to need to get tweaked? And obviously, look, it's June, right? But still, it's a worthwhile question to ask.
I've got one, and it's a June concern. But they didn't look like they were in great shape. The first night they played pickup, they played for an hour. And, and we sit there and say, man, and again, the old days, we used to play 2 hours. And again, there wasn't any alums there that night. So it was 10 guys and they played all 10 guys and nobody subbed in and they played for an hour. But I miss the days when they would play an hour and a half and really get after it. And tonight, again, this is going to be, posted on Thursday. So by Thursday, I'll know more because the guy's going to play again tonight. But there are, I talked to Tyler Zeller before coming in. He's coming tonight. And
Good.
Luke May told me he was coming tonight. So It's going to be a little bit, hopefully a little bit more competitive tonight. And I hope that they'll play for more than an hour tonight. That's my biggest concern. I want to see them. And again, they're practicing now and they're lifting now. And they're things are different now than they were in the past. They couldn't practice before. So they were playing 2 hours of pickup. So that's one. I'd like to see them play at least an hour and a half tonight.
And I'll put a plug in for next week's show, gang. Don't worry about missing out on those late night runs. Coach Rob and I'll unpack those on next week's show when he's on. So never fear, we'll get that info. Pete, any concerns for you at this point?
Well, first of all, I tried to get an invite to tonight's action. I thought we were playing horse, and they said, no, we're not horse. We're going to be on the court. And I said, well, I'm out of that. But I would say I have a concern. It's not really a concern. It's more like I'm inquisitive. What's going to happen with this year's team? Because I see all these pieces that look really good together. But I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. So when we need a basket at the end of a shot clock or at the end of the game, I don't know where we're going right now. And we'll figure that out as we get into the season. I mean, Caleb Wilson's going to be a dominant force. Are we going to run some stuff through him like we used to run stuff through Baycott? Like, I like the idea of having something closer to the basket when you need a basket as opposed to a pick and roll or, something outside. I like being able to get into the paint. And I don't think I know right now who's going to be doing that or if we're going to try that method as opposed to some of the stuff we tried last year.
Yeah, man, that's a great observation and excited to see how that unveils itself as we go throughout the rest of the summer and into the fall. All right, guys, one final segment. We just want to talk some more about some of the experiences of Montross Camp and the first camp session for Carolina, including Coach's book signing and having a special encounter with Coach Williams when it comes to Carolina Basketball School. We'll finish off the show with Coach Rob and Chili Pete in just a second. Right after I tell you about Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control for when just right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet might be the answer for you. Over 150,000 men have already made this switch. It's completely online. Rugiet connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. Again, that's Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. It's so fun as we're talking about camp, both Montross Camp and Carolina Basketball School, to unpack what the team is looking like. But also, let's not forget, there's actual basketball camp going on with youngsters and all sorts of neat experiences. And one of those was this past weekend, Coach Rob. I know you had a book signing there at Alumni Hall. We talked about that last week. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that and how the book signing went and other encounters you've had. I know you and I were texting about a neat encounter you had with Coach Williams surrounding the book as well.
Yeah, it was really cool. For about an hour at Alumni Hall, it's busy, sold 15 or 16 books. But then the last hour was just dead, and that's okay. We sit there and just talk. And all of a sudden the door opens, and one of my players I hadn't seen in 10 years walks in with his two boys. And I was just shocked. I didn't know he was coming, and they surprised me. And that was really, really cool. And just to be able to be part of that and to meet some people, had a guy come from Charlotte who just wanted to meet me and get a book. And so it was, I'm just a small college coach. So to have experiences like that is pretty awesome. Then we got another signing, Chapel Hill Sportswear this coming Saturday. I'm trying to talk this guy into coming with me. Just to draw a crowd. I'll buy him lunch is what I told him. Yeah, this is called definition of lunch.
NIL.
So, you've exhausted your eligibility, Pete. I'm so sorry.
But it has been really cool. Got a chance to talk to Coach Williams, and I'm stupid enough to think that he might actually want my book. So I went over and talked to him, and I said, "Hey, Coach, I brought a bunch of books. Would you like some? Just for to be able to give out." And he said, "Yeah, I'd love 12." He said, "I already talked to 5 guys I want to give books to," and it made the world to me. It just to know that this project that took so long, that Coach Williams actually wants to give it to his friends is really, really cool.
Man, that's super neat. I love it, Coach. That's so fun. And I know you don't do it just to have to sell a million, but it is neat to see people wanting to get that in their hands and to read it. And I know that that's got to be a neat thing for you. And as always, just want to say how proud I am of you for bringing that to fruition. You guys just finished off Montross Camp, right? Just an hour or so ago before we hopped in. What were some of those experiences? I know, Coach Rob, you sent me a picture of Antoine Jameson talking to everybody yesterday. Just, if you guys want to, just maybe wax poetic on some of the experiences of Montross Camp. Pete, why don't you start?
I'll start. I did the first Montross Camp 2 years ago. Then last year my son got married, so I missed it. So I came back this year, and I just saw Laura out there. And every year I told her, "I'm here for you." It's a special camp just because of what it's for. You throw in the kids and their dads. It makes it really special. You throw in the fact that everyone there is volunteering. It makes it more special. It's a great cause. That's more special. But some of the things that happened yesterday, you get lost sometimes, and you're coaching a team or doing a drill. Then you don't get a chance to step back and look at the gym and look away. Don't look at the players that are playing or the dads. Look at the people that are volunteering, and look at the people on the fringes that are there to support. And you had the whole women's basketball team. You had basketball players from probably 4 or 5 decades, and just giving and giving and giving. And it's all in honor of Montross, who was the ultimate giver in what he was about with his life and how this foundation and everything this is going towards. It makes you feel good, and if you don't volunteer for anything or you don't give to charities, for me, this is one of those things where it's not about, I know it's about money with Coach, but it's not about money with this thing at all. Like I like to do this thing. I like to be around the atmosphere of giving for a good cause, and the Carolina family showed up big time. And so it's special to me for that reason. The basketball part really doesn't matter. You could it doesn't in how I'm approaching this. What matters is why we're all there, and we're making it fun for the campers and their dads, of course. But when you get in that atmosphere, it makes you feel good.
Coach Rob?
Yeah, it's fun. My dad passed away in 2012 from cancer, and for me to be able to spend time with fathers and sons, fathers and daughters, playing the game you all love, to see a kid make a basket, run over and give dad, double high fives, and just seeing them have a lot of fun. One of my favorite memories from this week, I think, will be one of the kids went down and started to cry a little bit. Joel James picked him up and put him on his shoulder and just carried him off the court like a sack of potatoes on it. And the kid stopped crying immediately because Joel James grabbed him and picked him up. And the interaction that they have with these players is unmatched. To be able to go home and tell their friends that Caleb Wilson was their coach at Montross Camp, where they got a chance to hang out, with Pete Chilcutt or with, whoever else was in the gym. It's just, it's pretty cool just to be able to walk around and see all the different guys. I got those posters kind of made for my book signings and went around to all the former players I could find today and just had them sign it. It was just really cool piece of memorabilia from this week. So just being able to spend time with my friends. There's coaches that this is the only time of the year I see them. I see them for a day and a half, 2 days tops, to be able to see them. And one of my former assistants, Rob Brendel, came back, and this is the only time of year I get to see him. So we get a chance to go out last night and just talk about the old times and hang out. It was just really, really special for me.
Gosh, you guys, it's so good. It's so good. And to be able to just, like, Pete, I love your point there. Like, sure, basketball is the engine, but it's really so much bigger than that. That's just the conduit through which all of this gets to happen. And so really grateful to you both for your investment in those moments. And it's just, I've had a couple of the dads actually that are there this week text me and just talk about what a massive deal it is for them and their sons to get to be part of that. And so I know that the both of you and everyone else are the ones making that happen. So thank you for what you do. Obviously, a lot more to say in the lead up to this season and after camp session 2. So we'll get to all that next week, but great to go ahead and have this primer. As a reminder for anyone interested, camp game number 2 is this Friday, 3:30. Coach, you said correct?
Yep, 3:30, probably closer to 3:30.
Yeah, so in that time frame, and great stuff there. Fellas, I'm so grateful to both of you for your time. I hope that camp session 2 goes well. Get some good rest for the next 40 minutes or whatever it is before that gets going. Maybe take a nap there in Coach Sully's office before you vacate the premises. Gang, thanks so much for joining us today on the show. If you've not subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video and audio, make sure you do that now so you don't miss a second of the show. If you've not yet picked up Carolina Basketball School about everything that we've been talking about today, do that now on Amazon, or heck, head on down to Chapel Hill and get one from Coach Rob in person. He'd love to sign it for you. If you've not joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, we'd love to have you in there. That link is in the show notes. It's absolutely free to join. And if you want to go next level with the show, Locked On Tar Heels Insider Program, we'd love to see you there as well. Coach Rob, you're about to say something. I cut you off.
No, I just so you can get Pete to sign it too, because he's going to be there on Saturday.
Oh, yes. Look, you got to take him out to eat, Coach. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe a coffee and dessert too, Pete. I'm trying to get some extra in there for you. You guys know the deal as always. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.